Hello, I'm Adam Kielich, the managing attorney of the Kielich Law Firm in Bedford, Texas, and today's quick video is about temporary orders in a divorce. Temporary orders in a divorce will establish rules and conditions for the divorce in between the time that the divorce is filed, the temporary orders are requested, and when the divorce is finalized. In a divorce, the Texas Family Code gives judges broad authority to issue temporary orders for the protection of the property involved in the divorce and the protection of the parties involved in the divorce. The temporary orders can deal with creating temporary possession schedules, temporary child support, temporary spousal support, order parties to pay bills for existing debts, pay the attorney fees of the other party, divide property use, particularly who's going to stay in the house. The court can issue injunctions prohibiting violence or the waste of assets. They can order various other types of injunctions that prohibit any other kind of activity or conduct that might be detrimental to the property or the parties involved in the divorce. Temporary orders basically come in two varieties. First is an ex parte temporary restraining order. An ex parte TRO is a TRO that the party who files the divorce requests basically to give them a short period of time to stop any kind of waste of assets or violence in between the time that the divorce is filed and the time where a hearing can be set and the parties can be notified of the hearing to establish more permanent temporary orders. In an ex parte TRO, the party goes in and asks the court to issue the TRO without the other side knowing about it or giving the other party an opportunity to oppose the order. That's why it's ex parte, it's without the other party. These ex parte TROs have a much more limited focus and scope. They don't have the kind of broad authority that a court has to issue other types of temporary orders. When a court orders an ex parte TRO, the court is required to set a hearing for temporary orders within 14 days. So that ex parte order is going to expire within 2 weeks. So it's important to make sure that a hearing for further temporary orders is set on time, that the other parties are notified and have an opportunity to be heard. The other class of temporary orders basically is everything else, and these are the temporary orders that are issued after a hearing, regardless of whether an ex parte TRO preceded it. And these include all of those temporary orders regarding the property or the children, the injunctions. The court can order protective orders that are enforceable under the criminal code and enforceable by the police. This is where that broad authority steps in, and the court can issue whatever orders it feels are necessary to protect the parties and protect the property at issue in the divorce. It's typical for temporary orders to be ordered in a divorce that's contested, where there's some conflict between the party regarding the kids or the property or both. It's almost certain that there will be temporary orders if there's a risk or a history of violence or wasting of resources. It's also fairly common to establish a temporary possession order for who's going to have what time with the kids, and making sure that child support is paid, and a little less rare that spousal support is being paid. So these temporary orders are very important within the divorce process. They ensure that there's some sort of stability in between the time the divorce is filed and the time where the divorce decree is signed. An important aspect is that in many cases, whatever is ordered in those temporary orders, especially regarding the kids and child support, that's more than likely going to be what occurs in the final divorce decree. So it's not something that should be overlooked or treated lightly by a party. It can have a long-term impact beyond just the months or possibly years before the divorce decree is finalized.